Greater Sandton and beyond. Get ready for the Sandton Times Hour
with your host,
Alexander.
Ladies and gentlemen, everyone in between and beyond, it's giving festive, it's giving the Sandton Times Hour, edition 183, week 48. Also available on all leading digital audio channels wherever you are in the world. If you want to get in touch, you can do so by using one of the many channels to share your questions, comments, or feedback. You can email editor@sandtontimes.co.za, connect on social media @Sandton Times, and visit the website www.sandtontimes.co.za. And a very special welcome to you if you're tuning in for the very first time, if you've taken a break from the year, if you're already on your holiday as December cracks open. Well, welcome to the Sandton Times Hour to you and all of those around you listening. And if you are a regular listener and you're winding down the year with the Sandton Times Hour, well, it's good to have you back again. I hope you've managed to pour yourself something cold, kick up your feet, relax, take it easy for the next hour as we breathe in the festive season and make the best of it wherever you are in Johannesburg and Pretoria, across South Africa, everywhere and anywhere else in the world, online or on air, wherever you are. I'm happy to report that all is well in Sandtonland. And Vincenzo managed to get it all back together again behind the mixing desk for another week. I see you've managed to bring us back to life with all the moving and changing and new studios, and I see we're all plugged in again correctly. And there were a couple of changes in the lineup. I know there was a Monday that we missed. We were playing music because there were things that had to be reshuffled, but the team has done an extraordinary job, and thank you to all of them, and thank you to all those who never get a mention and behind the scenes trying to make all these things work and make sure that things are back on track and on air and sounding good. And it looks like it was a good 2 weeks, 10 days. I'm not quite sure exactly when do you start and when do you finish. I think it's always a work in progress at some point. But it all went well, and we're back. We're back. Congratulations to all of those who walked away with an award at the Telkom Radio Award this past weekend. I see there was a lot of activity online as well, people talking about that. And I hit the wall last week in a very brutal way. I woke up on Saturday morning last weekend with the most insane burnout, exhaustion, or a little bit of both, or maybe just a virus. I'd been emceeing a lot of events the previous week, and I just woke up on Saturday morning and I was finished. Absolutely done. I spent most of the week out of action, managed to get a lot of rest, get a lot of sleep, self-medicate, and I'm happy to say that I'm back on my feet again, and the rest has done me good. And it's one last push now. I think it's like 1, 2, maybe 3 weeks for some people, and then that's it. And then it's Key December, boss, and we take it into the festive, and we'll see each other again on the other side of all of that. So we've got an exciting show lined up for you this week. Very relaxed, very chilled, some great conversations, and of course, some very holiday kind of music. In a bit, I'll be taking a look at some of the things you can see and do over December in Greater Sandton with your friends and family, a quick guide. And of course, there's a more extensive guide that'll be up on the website as well. Then I connect with this year's winner of MasterChef South Africa. And if you had been following that, if you watched all the action, well, make sure you listen to this interview. After that, we get chatting about entertaining and dishing up some fabulous things over December, as one does. And maybe we can give you some ideas and maybe do things a bit differently this year. Maybe you've gotten a bit bored of the usual sort of, trifle or gammon that you make. Maybe get some new ideas on the show this week. And finally, if you're up for one last laugh in 2024, well, I'll be chatting to a talented comedian who has one more show lined up for us in Sandton. All this and more coming up in the next hour.
Show some love.
subscribe, share,
Leave a review and rating for the Sandton Times Hour
on your favorite podcast app now.
Follow the Sandton Times on social media
@Sandton Times.
All right, I have a little bit of time before we get my first guest on, so I thought let's take a quick look at some festive things you can do in and around Greater Sandton this December. Monte Cassino has a magical Italian village of lights this year, featuring almost 500,000 LED lights and 20 newly added selfie displays with a bit of festive backdrops, traditional trees, and some walkthrough installations. From December 16th to December 23, Montecasino's Festive Market will also be bringing together some artisanal traders offering a curated selection of unique holiday gifts. So if you want to go check that out, that's at Montecasino. Then Sandton City is serving up some thespian magic with Momo's Magical Adventure, which runs from the 5th of December 2024 to the 5th of January 2025, so well into the new year. And it's a production which sees Momo and her trusty sidekick Mac the Meerkat embark on a cosmic journey filled with starlit skies, deep sea magic, and celestial friends like Bertie Stargazer and the Unicorn and Polly the Northern Star. And some great performances there and a uniquely designed theatre setup. And I'm sure the kids will love it. You'll love it. And make sure that you make your way there to Sandton City. Then Four Ways Mall has also set up a Santaland with a range of activities and treats to go check out there. Melrose Arch, well, they kicked off their festive season with a performance by the Mzansi Youth Choir. And there's more coming. There's also a Christmas festive gifting market that they're setting up. And then, of course, the ever-popular Festival of Lights. And I believe that they've brought in some new lights this year. So they've updated that, they've refreshed that, and of course you can go check that out, take a walk through, take some photos, grab a bite to eat. I'm sure that's a worthwhile evening out. Then Mall of Africa, well, they have set up the ultimate family destination and they're hosting the highly anticipated DreamWorks Find the Fun, which is an action-packed extravaganza filled with exciting activities and interactive games, and they've got something for all ages. And one of the major highlights is, of course, the appearance every day of some DreamWorks beloved characters that the kids can go check out, maybe take some photos with. And I'm sure that's also a great day out. I'm going to be putting up all these festive activities and more up on the website. So if you want to get some more details and some more links, hop onto www.sandtontimes.co.za right after the show and start planning your December Wonderland tour for you, your friends, and your family.
The best of Sandton and beyond.
You're listening to the Sandton Times Hour.
All right, if you're a MasterChef fan, specifically a MasterChef South Africa fan, let me just say, spoiler alert. If you haven't caught up on the news, if you haven't caught up on watching the MasterChef South Africa finale, please, whatever you do right now, I don't know, do something else, go wash the dishes, or tune into something else, or put it on pause, because we don't want to give away anything, although probably by now you probably already know what the outcome is of MasterChef South Africa Season 5. We have the winner on the line, and I'm really thrilled to be joined by Bridget Mangwandi. She's 20. She's a consumer science student from Bloemfontein and the youngest contestant this season. But moreover, she's the MasterChef South Africa Season 5 champion. And Bridget, it's great to have you on the Sandton Times Hour.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Well, you were part of an all-female final of MasterChef South Africa, which was pretty awesome. And we saw 3 home cooks going head-to-head for the title. And as talent might have it, you walked away with the trophy. How did it feel walking away with this kind of title, especially at 20?
It was insane. I did not expect it. I'm sure you guys saw my face. It was literally just shock because I was not expecting it. But also you want it, but you're not really in the moment, let's just say. So it was really exciting, and it's still exciting. I still can't believe it. I still can't really wrap my head around it, but hopefully I do soon enough.
What inspired you to participate in MasterChef South Africa, and how did this entire culinary journey begin for you?
What inspired me to enter, I always wanted to be in a cooking show and try and put my cooking skills to use. But in terms of what made me start cooking was really like, okay, I want to start cooking. I want to see what's happening in the kitchen. I was always curious, and I apparently loved, and I know I loved this show on BBC, Big Cook, Little Cook. So it started from there, and then wanting to start cooking around 8. And then from there, it was just always cooking, baking, whatever. If someone's hungry, I want to do it. And entering a cooking competition was because I wanted to kind of put myself out there in terms of the food industry, and I guess we can say we've done it now.
This has been an in for you. This is an opportunity. I'd like to think it's a stepping stone. Now that you've taken the title, now what? What do we do from here?
Now what is we put that consumer science degree to use, and we put this opportunity to use. And I really want to headline with Pick and Pay and get a brand on the shelves, that type of thing that really represents Bridget and represents heritage of South Africans, diversity on the shelves. And I really want to, that's what I really want to do.
Okay, so Bridget, if I hear you correctly, some people say, I'm going to go in a restaurant, I'm going to open a food truck. You're saying, I'm going to do food, but I'm going to go into the sort of business side, the FMCG side of food. Have I got you right?
That is correct.
Okay, very interesting. Look, I've cooked for family, I've cooked for friends, but I've never cooked for R1,000,000. What was that like?
It was intense. I kind of had to put it aside. The R1,000,000, I really had to put that out of my head because it also adds a lot of pressure to you that, okay, I'm on MasterChef, this. What I would always tell myself as we're about to enter the kitchen is, okay, this is just another day in class. It's another consumer science. It's with my classmates, love my classmates, but I'm top, So I would ease myself thinking that way so I could really just give it my best and just want to astound whoever's at the other side of that door.
As you reflect on this experience, on this journey you've been on with MasterChef South Africa, what are one of the highlights that stands out for you? Something that you'll take with you for years to come?
The winning moment. I mean, that's the only highlight that really was that moment that, wow, I've done it. But I remember that last cook was really intense. That pressure I felt and wanting to just quiet down the noise literally in my own head. I think that was a really key moment. And then winning and knowing that, okay, this has happened. Yeah, that is a moment I really want to feel this way for a long time, honestly.
Being a MasterChef fan, I'm assuming, of the international formats as well. I mean, we know that the Australian edition 2024 saw 50 episodes of the show. South Africa had just under half of that. We had 20 episodes. Do you feel that you've had enough experience and exposure to say that your cooking has been elevated to a professional level after having gone through season 5?
Professional level is a very strong word, but what I will say is you can never stop growing in the food industry. You can never stop learning more. So I'm sure those chefs that are doing it on this Australia version of MasterChef, they've definitely had a lot more time to quickly, get these things on the board. But for us, we really had to rush through it as well, somewhat. But in that is knowing that there's still more room to grow. There's still more room to develop yourself as a chef. So I'm definitely also looking forward to expanding my culinary journey, traveling to try different cultures. Instead of looking on YouTube to what culture should I cook, let me go to the country and actually try it authentically.
When visiting these other countries, I'm hoping that you're going to be a bit of an ambassador for South African food. And if you had to serve up a dish to someone in Hong Kong or Dubai or Los Angeles, what kind of dish would you serve up to say, this is something I've brought back from home and I'd like you to try this?
Putting me on the spot here, but I would definitely say a dish similar to that of the West African challenge. I really enjoyed that. And also the Star Sign challenge. That was somewhat a very real dish I enjoyed making with the jollof risotto. And then we had the chakalaka that represented South Africa. The way the meat was done is also South African. That, especially also maybe even the winning dish that I did. Those are dishes that South Africans know and love. So I'd love people to try that.
And when you say West African, I'm also anticipating quite a bit of spice in there as well. Something with a bit of heat.
Yes, heat. Don't we also love heat? We love Tabasco.
Well, I think there's some people in Europe who might be crying at this point if they had to eat some of those, but we know back home we enjoy a bit of spice. Celebrity MasterChef South Africa is on the horizon now. Following this, I mean, one's just finished, the next one's almost ready to go. Is there a particular celebrity that you'd like to see in the competition?
Ooh, maybe perhaps the cooking husband. Perhaps Daisy Makoti, I would love that. And Siba's table, that I have to have that. So that one, I really would love that. She's literally someone I watched since I was a little girl, basically taught me how to cook via the television. So that would probably be a moment.
I feel like there's a couple of celebrity chef crushes here that you're giving away.
No, guys, it's just my own insight on the food industry and who's a celebrity, I would say, or who I follow personally.
Amazing. Well, listen, I mean, I learned how to do a bit of my cooking off a VHS tape watching Jamie Oliver 20 or 30 years ago. So
Exactly. Oh, that's how we learn.
That's it, man. That's it. Well, listen, if you missed the finale, but I mean, now you know who won, but still, if you want to see how we got to this point and how she walked away with the million, well, the rebroadcast is going to be on SABC and also on the SABC Plus app if you've got that. Make sure you watch it. It's beautifully produced. I think the South Africans did an incredible job with season 5 of MasterChef South Africa. And Bridget Mangwandi, all the way from Bloemfontein, congratulations on your win. Congratulations on the million. And what can I say? You ate and left no crumbs.
Love it. Yes, definitely. Thank you so much for having me on your show. Love it.
You're listening to the Sandton Times Hour.
And as we get into the second half of the Sandton Times Hour, don't forget that if you caught something interesting on the show this week, but you didn't get all the details, you didn't have a chance to write it down, please don't worry. Just hop onto the website, www.sandtontimes.co.za, and you can get all the details in the comprehensive show notes for this week. So there'll be some further reading, some additional links, some whatever information you need, whatever it is, it's all on the website. And also don't forget, you can follow the Sandton Times on social media, whichever your preferred platform is, even Blue Sky. We're even on Blue Sky now at Sandton Times, and you can connect on there as well and stay up to date with all the latest and best. And as people would be saying at this time of the year, it's giving Christmas. And if it is giving Christmas, well, what else can we say? I was having this conversation in my household. What are we going to make for Christmas lunch and Christmas dinner and all the festive season dishes that we have to serve up? And then it also becomes a bit of a logistical conversation, because if the title of cooking all the meals for all these festive gatherings is bestowed upon you, how do you get the logistics right? Because you can't be doing hot meals all the time. Then the weather's really hot. So do you want to be making hot meals all the time? Anyway, I didn't want this to be my problem. So I thought, let me rope in somebody who actually knows a bit more than I do. Chantal Lascaris, she is a culinary expert. She also loves traveling and is a wellness expert and enthusiast. She's based in the beautiful part of South Africa called the Franschhoek Valley. And she has got a series of inspiring cookbooks like the Ultimate Salad Book and all sorts of healthy dishes the Mediterranean way, and she blends her love of food with her passion for travel and well-being, and she has some fantastic platforms. But she joins me right now to have a chat about all things festive. And Chantal, it's great to have you on the Sandton Times Hour.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
Chantal, are you having the same anxieties as I'm having about the festive season, or is this all under control in your household?
Well, you know what? I think I'm like a duck. You know, where you see a duck on the water and they look perfect on the top, but those little legs underneath are paddling away like mad. I think that's the stage I'm in at the moment. So I've already started my Christmas shopping, so
Amazing.
that I don't have to have that major scramble at the end of the year.
All right, great. Well, this will be a therapy session for all of us then to work through what is coming. Chantal, what are you finding is sort of the general trend, or the general way people are going with Christmas dinners, Christmas lunches? Has it moved away from traditional completely? Because I know at one point we were all doing the turkeys and sort of trying to keep up with the Europeans, but I think we've kind of canned that idea, I think, all together, and we found our own sort of South African way of marking Christmas.
I think there's definitely our South African way, and I think, but there's also still almost like an ode still to the warm Christmases or Christmas lunches or dinners that everybody has. So I quite like the idea of blending both, taking the best of both and making it work for us here in South Africa. So for me, I still make turkey, but I don't present this giant turkey that's perfect, because mine doesn't always look perfect. And it's so hot, you don't want to be slaving in front of the stove and the oven. So I've actually found a way of presenting it where I shred the turkey and I put it in a nice gravy, so it's nice and moist, and it's ready, and I can cook the turkey the day before. So I think it's, again, about what we can do and what we can't do with the time that we have. I think time has become more important than tradition.
I can echo that, certainly, because a lot of these dishes do take a lot of time to prepare as well. And the last thing you want to do is be stuck behind a stove or in the kitchen for the entire festive season and not see family that's visiting or be together with everybody. You want to kind of find a good balance. But there's also quite an important balance between balancing the tradition of these festive dishes, whatever it is that your family makes, and being a little bit more creative, because you don't want to have to be serving up the 37th edition of your whatever famous fish stew or whatever it is that your family makes. You want to also try and bring in something new and something exciting.
What I like to do is actually, with my food, bring in a bit of the color of Christmas. So, you know, it doesn't have to be traditional food that you're serving, but if you present it in a Christmassy way, if I can use that word, or using the colors of Christmas, then you're already bringing that whole feeling in. So one of the things I like to do is make gazpacho soup, which is really tomato soup. So, and I serve it in champagne glasses. So already you've got that lovely festive feeling. It's lovely and red. And then you put a little mint leaf or a basil leaf on top. and it's got this really glamorous feel to it, but it's really simple to make, and you can make it the day before.
You're also an avid traveler, much like I am. And one of the ideas I've had for this Christmas is to bring in a few dishes that I've come across having, sort of gone around the world this year and seen little bits and pieces, be it a tiramisu from Italy or maybe, and that's not too difficult to make and it's easy to do and you can do that the day before, or maybe even bringing in sort of like a Napolitana pizza with the tomato, the buffalo mozzarella, and the basil leaves, sort of that red, green, and white, like you were talking about, the colors of Christmas, as maybe like a bit of a starter that everyone kind of can help themselves to.
Absolutely. There you go. You've got your Christmas colors, and to take it one step further, serve it to make it look like a wreath. So put it on a circular plate, and then make it into a wreath, and there you've got that sort of Christmas feel again. And again, because it's summer and it's going to be hot, you don't have to feel like you're sitting having a heavy meal. I think that's very important for us, is that's probably why we don't follow as many of those traditions, because it just doesn't make sense to be eating such hot food on our boiling days.
Sticky toffee pudding with some sort of hot custard just doesn't go down as well on a hot day. But yet, like you were saying, we like those cinnamons, we like those smells of apple rind and orange rind and all those sort of things that kind of do give you that sort of very festive feeling, even though it's boiling outside.
Exactly. So have sangria instead of eggnog.
Yeah.
You're talking about traveling and find some ideas that works for you.
Yeah, or Aperol Spritz, which was a big hit. Yes, and it's always great. Nice and cold, nice and refreshing. Orange is a bit off for the Christmas color, but we'll work around that. Chantal, what are you finding you're sort of looking at sort of serving up outside of the Christmas Eve and also the Christmas lunch? Because obviously there's a lot of other times that we're just sort of bringing people together now because we've got time and it's a bit of a break.
For sure. It's not just about that one special day. We're doing a lot more entertaining. And for people that, for me included, it can actually be a very stressful time, because now you're feeling like you're having to look after people, you're worrying about what they eat. You've got all these dietary requirements nowadays that you're juggling on top of it. So I think it's also to not be too fussy and to actually just keep it quite simple. And where you can, rope people in to help you. I always like things to be just perfect, and I don't always ask people for help. And one of my things I'm trying to tell myself is to ask people to come and help, because they want to. So if you're having people around and somebody says, "Can I bring a salad?" say, "Yes, please." Grab that opportunity, because it just takes a little bit of stress away from you. So it's very much about keeping it simple. The other side of things is you've still got to watch what you eat, because this is the ideal time for us all to put on that extra kilo to 3, to just bear that in mind as well, to watch your health over this period.
Yeah. When we're drinking to good health, we should also make sure that we're eating to good health as well, I suppose. Very good point, Chantal. I like that. And the stress element, you're right, because we are supposed to be unwinding. We're supposed to be sort of taking our minds off work and a very busy year and a very intense year, and also not adding additional pressure that we, after the festive season, need another holiday just to recover from the festive season. And another interesting point you raised as well, also, if people are offering to bring something, let them bring something. It'll also help the festive budget as well, that you're not the one having to remortgage your house just to entertain the neighborhood, the body corporate, and your extended family.
Exactly. And also, just when we're talking budget, when you're looking at the food that you are going to offer people, if you are having people around, it doesn't have to always be the fanciest. It can be quite simple food again. It's all about seeing each other. And I think if you present the food in a pretty way and it looks tasty, it will be tasty, because we eat with our eyes first. So even if you're serving a simple salad, just put some Christmas cheer into it and put some baubles around or something, and suddenly everyone goes, "Oh wow, that looks amazing!" And all you've done is just stick some Christmas decorations around.
Tremendous.
So find clever ways of doing it.
No, absolutely. And that's right. Cook with love and cook with festive cheer because people will taste it in the trifle or whatever it is that you're making. So Chantal Lascaris, has been great catching up with you. We're going to put all your details up on the website. And if you're listening and you want to find out a little bit more about Chantal and her books, we're going to have them up on the website and you can order them online, get them in the bookshops, all good bookshops, and also get some more tips and maybe some inspiration and ideas because I think we all need it this time of the year. And Chantal, it's been great having you on the Sandton Times Hour.
You're listening to the Sandton Times Hour.
Right, as we head towards December, we have some great stuff lined up in terms of entertainment in Sandton, and one of which is the hilarious Deep Amazing Joburg comedy show with Gilli Apter. It's on from the 5th to the 7th of December at the Theatre on the Square in Sandton. And Gilli's been touring globally. You might have seen her on Netflix. She's been featured in quite a few comedy shows and comedy specials. And it's great to see her return to Johannesburg for a very limited run. And she's got a very funny show lined up. Well, thank goodness for that if it's a comedy show. But here to tell me a little bit more about that is Gilli Apter. And it's great to have you on the line all the way from Vienna.
Oh, thank you very much for having me. It's a delight to be here with you.
Well, Gilli, without taking away too much from what you're about to tell me, I believe this new show is about relationships, AI, ADHD, kids, Joburg versus other parts of the world. Maybe you can give us a bit of insight what people can expect from a show that is titled Hilarious, Deep, Amazing Joburg Comedy Show.
I've been doing the Hilarious, Deep, Amazing show pretty much all over the world. So I've just been replacing the name of the city in each place that I go to. So last night I did the Hilarious, Deep, Amazing Vienna comedy show. Honestly, it's about a lot of things. That's why it was hard for me, in the blurb of the show. It's got all kinds, like all of the things that I could remember in the show. But it's really very relatable stand-up comedy from a woman who is 42 and is, just getting through life, I guess. It's like relationships, the way we relate to each other, how we deal with our friends' children, some other stuff about what's happening in the world right now, things that we're seeing in our ether, like things we're seeing on our social media. There's nothing in the show that you'd be like, who's that? What's that?
How have audiences reacted to it in different parts of the world? Because South Africans have a very unique sense of humor, and I feel like we always gravitate towards a laugh rather than a cry when even the most ridiculous things happen. The rest of the world, I don't think, is quite the same.
Well, we laugh at different things. We laugh at slightly harsher parts of reality because I think, like in Europe, for example, they can't relate to jokes about hijacking, and we can,
Yeah.
I don't think they would find that so funny. So I leave out the jokes about hijacking, when I'm doing my show in, say, Zurich. Those people can't relate to what we go through. But what I do find is that often there are South Africans in the audience in Europe, people who have moved or people who are there temporarily for work. And they're just so thrilled. Honestly, half the time they're just thrilled to hear a South African accent. But I think the show is relatable anywhere. I tailor it a little bit to each place, but the bulk of the show really is relatable to anyone. We just, in South Africa, laugh at a few of the more harsh local realities, which I'll talk about as well in the show. Have
you had some surprising experiences or encounters when doing these shows, things that sort of you didn't really expect?
You know what? At this point, I feel like I've seen quite a lot. So encounters, I'm not sure. But it's always surprising to see, to hear South African experiences in the audience. That's the thing that surprises me. And people from all over the world, that's actually the most surprising thing, is a general note, which is that everywhere I go, there are so many people from so many places. You think you go to, let's say, Frankfurt and you're going to see a German audience, but actually it's like 90% people from every single city you can think of.
And is there a bit of audience work as well? I mean, do you sort of engage with the audience a lot, or is it sort of more of like a monologue for an hour?
There is a little bit, in the beginning of the show. I like to make the show a little bit more intimate, and I do like to talk to people. Often what happens is, what I have to do often, and, in these shows is I have to sell more tickets than what the room can hold. And the reason for that is not greed. The reason for that is because if I don't, people are so terrified that they will not occupy the front row. So I have to force the room to be full enough so they have to sit in the front row because people are so terrified that a comedian is going to make fun of them or annihilate them in some way. And I want to tell people that is not our intention in general, at least not mine. And I'm very friendly. So come to the show, sit in the front row and talk to me. I'm not going to make you feel stupid and I'm not going to be mean. I'm going to be very nice and we'll have a nice chat and it'll be fun.
What is the secret to making heavy topics funny? I mean, comedians have this very interesting way of seeing reality through a different lens or bringing a different perspective on it. And is that sort of the best way of approaching sort of things that we generally sort of complain about or have to deal with in South Africa?
You know what? There are some heavy topics all over the world, and it also depends from region to region. In South Africa, we're slightly more sensitive about one thing than another. But it's not that comedians are necessarily have to talk about serious subjects. You don't. There are great comedians who don't touch on anything political or difficult or challenging. It really depends on each comedian's interest in the subject. And if you are interested in the subject and it's really important to you, and you are really looking for a certain amount of truth, I think that's what makes it not necessarily easier, but that's a better path towards finding a way to make it funny. Because I think it's at least me, when I'm dealing with difficult subjects, I often ask myself, Gilli, why are you talking about this? You don't need to. You could just go out there and make silly jokes about, I don't know what, the weather. But the harder subjects are the things that keep me fascinated with my job, So you're always looking for a way to do it. And the one thing I will say that actually makes it easier for comedians to talk about hard subjects is effort, the amount of effort we put into trying to make those subjects palatable and relatable and accessible. And, my goal right now as well is to force us to talk to each other, because, and I talk about this in the show, we don't talk to each other gently. We don't know how to talk to each other anymore. So we go back online and then we comment online and we fight on Instagram, and that's not really communicating, So my goal is to make people look each other in the eye and, be uncomfortable in person rather.
And your exposure on Showmax and Netflix, have you felt that that's given you a sort of a whole nother platform to work off? I mean, do you find a lot more people internationally know you, are familiar with your work, are kind of knowing what they've signed up for? Or do you still have the person who's just bought a ticket because there's a comedy show in town? It sounds like a good idea.
I want to tell you that I would go so far as to say that it's made almost no difference at all.
Oh, wow.
Because yeah, you think that these things are going to be massive opportunities, and then you discover that nobody watches anything anymore, and you can't actually get them to watch the thing you want them to watch. When I was on Netflix, I very quickly after decided that I was very deliberately going to start touring. I went to America, I went to London, just to try the different scenes, and I was going to use that as a way to get in the door. And for sure, it helped me get in the door, with promoters and people who were putting on shows. It gave me a certain status, but the people in the audience had never heard of me. And in fact, I think it made things worse, because in New York, for example, the host would say, our next comedian, you've seen her on Netflix. And then I would come, they would expect to see Ali Wong or something. And then I'd come out and they'd be like, who is this person? So I actually had to tell them to stop saying that I'm on Netflix, because the expectations were so high. They thought they were about to see Chris Rock, and then they'd see me, So what I find is much more relevant is people seeing you on social media or on a clip that's gone viral or something like that. And actually, the thing that I do is I use good old-fashioned social media marketing to get people to the show. So most of the people who come to the show have seen a little funny clip that they thought was hilarious, and they bought a ticket.
Well, one clip that I watched, which was, I think, of your show in Luxembourg, and you said you could determine how busy or boring a place was based on how quickly your ticket sold out.
Yes, exactly. So people who come to that show in Luxembourg have all seen that ad, and that's why they come. But most of them come to the show and they're like, when I tell them I'm on Netflix, they're surprised, and then I was surprised to find out that they were surprised, because they had actually never heard of me.
Well, if you have heard of Gilli now and you'd like to go see her show, well, it's up from the 5th to the 7th of December in Sandton at Theatre on the Square. We've put up all the details on the Sandton Times website, so you can hop onto the website, sandtontimes.co.za, and check out the hilarious, deep, amazing Joburg comedy show.
Yes.
The Joburg edition, which I'm sure is going to be as hard and fast as it comes.
Can I just say also, I'm probably going to open up the 3rd of December as well this week. So if you're looking for a Tuesday night, look for that date. That's opening Monday, Tuesday. Thursday is sold out. Wednesday, the 4th, is blocked for a private event. But there are still some tickets left for the weekend shows, and there will be some for the Tuesday. And I just want to say to people who have bought tickets, thank you, because it's gone really well. And also, this is just going to be a fun raucous, relatable night with so many South Africans in the room. The mood is good. It's December. Let's get together and laugh in a room together.
You heard it here first. Gilli Apter, it's been such a pleasure having you on the Sandton Times Hour.
Thank you so much.
And with that, that's all we have time for on the show this week. The Sandton Times Hour wraps up, but you can continue listening on all great podcast platforms, including Apple, Amazon, Spotify, the works. Podcast party, you choose one. And of course, if you're doing a long road trip this year, well, there's a great opportunity to catch up with some of the stuff you hadn't listened to, some interesting interviews. So make sure you hop onto the podcast platforms, subscribe, and share those as well. If you want to get in touch, you can email editor@sandtontimes.co.za and connect on social media @Sandton Times, and hop onto the website www.sandtontimes.co.za. And feel free to send through questions, comments, feedback, input, ideas, all of that. Welcome as we go into 2025. Thank you to all the guests who made the time to be on the show this week, and of course, once again, the teams behind the scenes who make sure this show goes out to you, it reaches you, and it sounds fabulous every single week. Thank you for listening, and God willing, we'll do it all again next week.
That's it for this week. Thanks for listening to the Sandton Times Hour. And if you enjoyed it, be sure to share it.